Hello, 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 and welcome to the Rag Company Podcast. I'm Dane Hennen. To my right, Levi Gates.
Oh, hey, guys.
Across from me, Anthony Fisher.
Hey, hey.
And to my left, Morgan McMurray.
Hello.
And this is the Rag Company Podcast. As I said, now normally we would talk about what we did over our weekends, but we kind of had a lot go on over the last whole weekend plus week. So let's just do a chronological.
First things first, we need to recognize our sponsors.
What's on the table.
So we do have some sponsors of this podcast episode. All these treats and delicious goodies, everything from licorice, Slim Jims, High Chews, Rice Krispie treats, and of course our favorite collection of Herbie the Lug Bug here. This podcast is
Don't
sponsored.
forget Stroop waffles and Biscoff cookies.
Yeah,
Correct.
all of it.
Plenty of cookies. Sponsored by none other than G. Davis and Mr. Luke Berge. Thank you so much. Plenty of treats here to go through on this podcast. More than we'll know what to do with. We'll probably extend these treats into the Q&A Thursday this week.
Sounds like a great idea.
A lot going on here. So we want to give a thank you to them, hence why you see all this stuff on the table. If you're listening to the podcast, you might hear some sights. You might hear some sounds, some crunchies.
Some crinklies.
Perhaps some ASMR.
Oh, that's a bag of Stroop
some
waffles he's
going
fondling.
on. Yeah. And I should note, all these things were given to us in person. Not shipped to us in person. So we met these people. They're real people. They're good people. Very kind people.
Yeah.
And we just want to say thank you.
Let's go ahead and dive into what this last week was.
Right from the beginning.
Last Tuesday.
We all got up really early.
We got really early.
Met at the airport about 4 a.m. Left Boise, Idaho. Hopped on our plane. Flew to Minneapolis, Minnesota. We were a little stressed because we only had about 20 minutes to get from one end of the airport to the other. And if you've ever been to Minneapolis, it's a massive airport.
It is.
It's probably one of the biggest in the country.
It's a big airport.
Then, when we were landing, we were 10 minutes early. So we were like, oh, we get 30 minutes. This is great.
A bit of time.
Very nice.
But first off, hold on. Where were we going, though?
Well, we're headed to our final destination was Newark.
For?
The Detailer's Domain Open House.
Yes, which many of you have heard us talking about. So, sorry, just wanted to preface this by saying
we landed, and we were like, oh, this is great. We have 30 minutes. So as we landed, it popped up on the phone that, hey, or the captain came over the thing like, well, we've arrived. We're about 10 minutes early. This is, hope you guys had. I was like, oh, thank goodness. This is great. We got 30 minutes. Then, as soon as we landed, you turn your cell phone back on. You do all that stuff. We were notified that our flight was now 30 minutes delayed. So we now had 1 hour. And for any of you who've ever been stressed out or worried to miss your flight, it was very nice to know that we had an hour, especially when it took us 25 minutes to get from one end of the airport to the other. So we were able to have a little hangout time, go to the bathroom, grab some snacks. The best part was when we got to our gate, while we were sitting there, we were all kind of not excited about the fact that we were flying coach. Normally we fly business class, Delta Comfort Plus. But Dane threw a bit of a stink, and so his dad gave him
and
only him the exit row.
Because if anybody knows anything about me, it's
because
I'm a
as you guys
prima donna, apparently.
As you guys all know, Dane always sits in the middle. Whenever we fly, he gets the middle row. He always Anthony and I are big at aisle guys, and
I am total pushover when it comes to one of you guys asking. I'm like, no, please enjoy yourselves. Have a good time.
Dane is very humble and courteous that way.
We got a story about that later that
you'll all
enjoy.
Fix your car for free, and you have a smooth running vehicle.
Yep. So
did all that work.
Yeah. So Dane, Dane was joking about how he didn't want to sit in the middle on a long flight like that. So his dad goes, "All right, Dane, here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to give you the exit row." Or an exit row seat by the window. So Dane got his exit row seat.
I didn't demand it. It was just given.
He was just given to him because of the sacrifices he has made to this company. So it was very nice of your father to gift you with that. The other three of us weren't. We were going to have to sit in the regular seating. And those of you that know, the exit row is extra legroom.
It is.
It's much more comfortable, enjoyable. And as soon as we sat down at the gate to wait, the attendant popped up and goes, "I've got 3 exit row seats available if anybody wants them." So
what did we do?
So me, Anthony, and Morgan headed over and switched our seats to exit rows. So we all got exit rows for that last leg of the flight.
And I met my first
first gentleman of the trip. First best friend of the trip.
And
I almost forgot about that guy.
So
I loved him. If he's listening, I love you.
There's no way.
She got to sit with a row of older folks that were very excited.
Celebrating a 100th birthday.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were selling 100, but pretty close.
Well, it was 100.
It was his mom's 100th
Oh,
birthday.
his mom's 100th birthday.
Well, hold on. I got to preface this. On the flight prior to this,
Oh, yes.
sat behind a gentleman.
From Boise
I thought
to
this is the
Minneapolis.
gentleman you were
No,
referring
no.
to.
Oh,
So
this was a good one.
I couldn't go past this without addressing this.
Okay.
Because
Right.
Anthony, who noticed it first? Anthony
No,
or
Levi.
No, I did.
Levi did. Okay.
So
Levi.
I was sitting on a thing, and like we all know, I always have my head on a swivel.
Of course.
I'm always looking and investigating everybody,
Prepared for danger. Yeah.
Yep.
People watching.
assessing the threat, and making sure all exits are available at all times.
Vigilance.
And I noticed a gentleman who was probably about 65 years old,
Maybe older.
perusing the local
webs.
escorts in the area he was headed to.
And we're not talking Fords.
No, some ladies. And I noticed this because he was looking at a lot of ladies in their underwear. And then he would copy and paste all their information
Into
and
his
then
phone.
create a contact in the phone with their picture as the photograph.
He was downloading their picture, saving it, and re-uploading it as a contact.
Exactly.
He was doing all this next to what we can only assume was his wife.
Yes. Yep. Perhaps, or business associate that he was going to be working
Now,
with.
I
Different
noticed,
strokes
I
for
noticed
different
two
folks,
women
I-
in front of me who were
So
looking at
I told
his.
Anthony and took a picture of it.
And I couldn't believe that. And
Well,
then
we
the
were
women-
two seats behind them, so
Correct.
there were some
Yeah.
folks in between us.
Yeah, and the women in front of us started laughing. They were just looking at each other, tap each other's shoulder, oh my god, can you see what's happening? And that's when I tapped their shoulder. I'm like, hi, you wouldn't be by any chance looking at that man staring at the escorts? And they're like, oh my god, you saw it too? I'm like, my friend over here, my colleague, has video proof of this happening, and it is quite hilarious.
It was great.
Yeah, it just, let's just say it put everybody into a good mood. We knew that guy was going to be having a good time this weekend with
We
a woman
knew
of the
we were
night.
going to
And
have
why shouldn't you?
and we were going to have a good time making fun of him later on our podcast.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So, anyways, so I ended up landing into Newark after all the flying. Good flights, nothing crazy. And once we got to Newark, that's when we had to go get our rental vehicle because we had to get a vehicle for this trip because we were doing some road travels, going to a couple different states. So we went over to our good friends over at the Alamo, and by Alamo, I mean not that place in Texas where there was that nice battle of the Alamo is what they call that.
Where lots of Americans died.
Oh, yes, yep. Got a little weird there for a second. But
Continue. I want to see where you take this.
So anyways, we go to the Alamo where we had the option of 3 different vans here. Now what these were Dodge Caravans.
Grand Caravans.
I was really hoping for a Pacifica, but alas, it was not in the cards.
So we had 3 different options here. We had a white one, and we were like, eh. We had a gray one. We were like, silver gray, not so much. And then there was a Black Beauty, as some could say.
It was the Blacktop edition, Murdered Out GT edition.
GT edition.
Of the Grand Caravan.
On E85 flex fuel is what we saw there. So what we saw instantly was more power, more luxury, and finally
A little better style.
More
a little
power,
better style.
baby.
Because we all are about high performance machines here, and that, to be honest, that Caravan has more horsepower than my Civic and Dane's Miata combined.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
wrong.
Not wrong. So we chose to go with that one. We opted for that one. First thing we did when we got in the car, because of the humidity, was turn on the AC.
It was
only to find
like
out
90
that there was
degrees out.
no AC in the back of the car because all it did was blow
Hot air.
It was worse than no AC. It was hot air and
the
only
opposite
hot air
of AC.
exclusively.
And there was no way to resolve that. We tried to fix it. We ended up just closing the vents.
We did
And,
every possible
yeah.
combination to change
And
it.
then
Nothing
cranking the
worked.
front. So Anthony and I could freeze while Morgan and Dane could achieve normal comfort level.
Yeah, and that was nice. So
Thanks,
from
bud.
there, we jumped on the road because we had a first pit stop to make over at our friends at Detailed Image.
Yes.
And so Greg and the guys, Mike, Dirty Mike and the boys, as we would say, we went over to Detailed Image.
It's not that dirty.
he's
He's
no,
a pretty
no.
very well
Very,
kept,
very well
clean,
He's the
place.
opposite
clean
of
man.
that.
So we went over to visit our friends there. So we checked in first. We checked into our hotel, or went to dinner first.
No, we went to dinner
went to dinner.
first.
Correct.
Yeah, straight to dinner.
Dinner first to a place called
The Barnsider
The
in
Barnsider.
Albany, New York.
Very
So
nice
this was a
little
steak
place.
joint, is what it was, and plenty of good meats and cheeses. So in fact that basically there was actually a salad bar that you could opt for, and they had a beautiful salad bar with a spread of delicious things.
Yeah.
But they also had hunks of cheese that Levi was getting on, and as well as bread.
It was great.
Yeah, and a lot of good food there. We sat down, Greg, Mike, awesome guys. We had great conversations, went over everything that we were planning for the upcoming media with detailed image, as well as just got to know each other and get a little bit more backstory.
Hadn't really gotten a chance to talk about
how they started, how we started, and it was just good conversation. You know, Morgan had, I think it was one of her first alcoholic drinks. You had a glass of wine.
Because she's allowed now.
Yeah.
She is, being 21 years old, a ripe 21. And so that was good. We also had a couple drinks too as well. Levi enjoyed the finest diet Coke, or was it Pepsi there?
It was Diet Pepsi at this location, thankfully.
Oh my god.
And I told the gentleman that I was very, very excited that it was Diet Pepsi because I knew the rest of this trip I was going to suffer.
Yeah.
For my cause.
There's
my
going to
team.
be a lot of Coke.
No,
Cola.
oh, Dane! Wow. No, so it was a really good time. The food was awesome. I had a steak. I know you had a steak as well.
We had the same steak.
You had chicken, or is it shrimp?
I had chicken.
No, I had like a pasta. So
Yeah.
it was like a spicy sausage pasta.
Oh, it was good.
Spicy sausage.
So that'll explain the events later to come with Dane there after eating some food.
Spicy sausages.
So we finished up dinner there. It was awesome. I think we ended up closing that place down as well.
Just
It was
about, yeah.
Pretty empty.
Yeah.
We
Left
just sat
there,
and talked with those guys. It was great.
Yeah.
and we from there checked into a very luxurious.
Super 8 Motel in
Super 8.
Schenectady.
Yeah. Probably one of the nicest we've stayed in.
It's the nicest sketchy place I've
opposite
ever
of
been.
nicest hotel we've ever
Yeah.
stayed
It was
in.
the nicest Super 8 I've stayed in.
I've stayed in nicer Super
I think
8s.
it was the only.
It was
Super
about
8
on a par with the other
that I've
Super
stayed
8s
in.
I've
So
stayed.
what we loved is
Yeah.
that we walked in. They had wallpaper from some time of I don't know how to even describe it.
It was very
interesting.
trendy, but it was
It was like going into a Subway restaurant in the 90s with all of the New York memorabilia, poster,
Correct.
wallpaper.
But that is so Super 8 is doing that for every location.
Are they?
Not New York. They're doing like the actual cities and like
okay.
metropolitan areas. So if, like the Portland, because I have my wife is going to be going to Portland this weekend, and I did book her a room at the Super 8 in
Well, let's hope
Portland,
hers was nicer.
and it looked lovely. It did not look at all.
This one looked okay in pictures too.
It did, and that's why I called her when we
Catfish.
got there. Yeah. But I called her and said, I really hope your room is nice because this is not.
It's kind of
This
the
looks
opposite.
nothing like the photos.
Kind of
at
the
all.
opposite. The way the pictures were framed made the rooms look a lot bigger than they were. But actually, when you got there, they were much smaller.
Well, they use
opposite
something.
of catfish.
Yeah, they use
Sometimes.
what's that? Forced perspective.
Yeah.
Yes.
By creating the room out of much smaller footprint and
Yeah.
twin beds,
Old real estate trick. Use a wider angle
they
lens.
make them look like
So-
it was a queen.
One thing to
rooms.
point out is when we were signing in, they had us sign some waivers. 3 different rooms. We all had 3 rooms. Me and Levi shared one, as always. Dane got his own, and then Morgan got her own. Now, for this, they said, hey, can you sign this? This is a waiver saying that you will get a $250 charge if we catch you smoking or find out that you smoked inside that room.
Yes.
We signed it without a worry in the world because
Yeah.
none of us smoke. Going around the corner to find that there were people that did not give a about that waiver because
Well, the whole hallway was filled with
the
smoke.
whole hallway was filled with the smell of marijuana. And not that
Whole
there's
lot.
anything against that, but
care.
let's just say that there was some secondhand contact going on.
More worried about it getting into our rooms and then us somehow being blamed for it. We didn't want that happening.
I wasn't worried about that. I just knew that I could.
Well, yours was mine was right across from some folks who were enjoying.
They were enjoying other things
Really
too.
quick, we got to pause because I have to go to the bathroom.
Oh, okay, noted. Pausing.
Something just hit me, and
Well, definitely want to get out of your
I
way.
have to go to the bathroom, and so I don't know if you want to pause or continue.
Let's go. And we're back. Anthony's still stuck in the bathroom. Let's do that.
You got to wait for it. Yeah.
And we're back. Anthony had to step away because of all this delicious travel food. Has upset his tum-tum.
And we got bored, so we're gonna
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep going.
So, we got into the hotel. It stunk like weed. It was very small. Wallpaper was peeling.
It was hilariously small.
It was odd how small it was because it felt like they were twin beds.
It felt like you were in a kid's playhouse.
Yes.
Going into the rooms because they're like, oh, this is like a normal hotel room except like quarter size.
Yeah.
1/4 scale.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. And my favorite, though, was the fridge at the
Above-
5-foot
The fridge
level.
was hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's set up like a normal room. You got your beds over here. You got a little TV over here.
Demonstrate for
There's
the
a
folks
bathroom.
like where the fridge would be.
I don't think
what
the camera
height.
goes high enough.
But then there was a fridge, and you can
It's-
see, if you're watching this on the Rag Company Podcast YouTube channel, you'll see my hand. It's about 5 feet off the ground.
Yeah,
there
it was
or
about
so.
5 feet off the ground.
So basically, this is where the shelf was, if not
And then
actually
above
higher
that
off
was a
camera.
mini fridge.
And then there's a mini fridge.
Yeah.
On top of that, where, I'm sorry, average people probably couldn't actually reach what was at the top
was where
of
a
that fridge.
cabinet would be.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like if you walked into somebody's kitchen.
where the bedding goes.
Yeah.
Not the cold.
It's where you put the stuff that you're not reaching for regularly.
Yeah.
It's
and
where
there
that
was
would go.
a white old mini fridge. And I
You
said,
had a white old mini fridge? We
You
had
had
a
a-
black one.
Yours was black?
Yeah,
Mine was
and
white.
ours was actually newer, so it looked like they tried a little.
Oh, good for you.
You didn't get that. Oh, I'm
Lucky,
sorry.
lucky.
But we Anthony and I had a visitor
Hmm.
in the evening about 1:00 in the morning. Showed up to knock on our door.
Oh my.
So remember when we said that there was a landscaping crew there?
Yeah. Yeah.
I went out when I went out earlier to talk to my wife and just say goodnight and all that kind of stuff. I walked around the back of the hotel. The landscaping crew was there having a party. They had barbecue. They had
but it was like,
a
midnight, or?
yeah. It was like 11:00.
oh, okay.
They had a barbecue. They had a bunch of beer. They had other stuff, other hard alcohol.
Having a good time.
They had the picnic tables all condensed into one area. So it looked like it was a landscaping crew that's there to do some work, but they're all staying in the hotel. And they brought their wives and girlfriends with them.
No.
Huh.
And so I assume they probably took over plenty of those rooms.
Is it common for landscapers to go on road trips?
I don't know,
Like,
but
as a job, not as a family. Like, what you do on your own time is your own
yeah,
time.
but I noticed that on the other side there was a lot of different. There was like 2 landscaping trailers with trucks.
yeah, we
and
saw those.
crew cab pickups and some other cars.
Maybe they
So-
were having a convention.
We thought
You
they were
never
going to
know.
start working in the middle of the
Yeah,
night.
we were like, why are they pulling up? But it turned out it was a couple guys going on a beer run, is what I'm assuming.
Oh, okay.
What we saw. So anyway, I saw them coming in and out a lot. I saw that going on. But he one of the guys knocked on our door because he was so obliterated.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't
Sounds
know
like
where
it.
his room was. And he was very scared. So he
don't know
we
you.
shut the door, went back to sleep. Next morning we got up. We went down Morgan and I went down to the continental breakfast that was set out.
If you
and
could call it that.
found that they had thawed Eggos for you to toast.
Freshly thawed.
Freshly thawed Eggos to toast on your own. Anthony came down and we all kind of made a joke about how horrible the breakfast was.
They're trying, guys. They're trying.
And realistically, you can get croissants and muffins and things like that. So Super 8, please step up your game. The room was pretty, like the price of the room was
That's why you didn't get
not,
a breakfast.
It
because
wasn't,
of the
no,
price
but
of the room.
I feel like there are other hotels in that same price range that could have done a better job.
Yeah, maybe in a different town, maybe.
Possibly. So anyway, we headed over, we loaded the van, we headed over. We're only staying there for one night, so it wasn't that bad.
We weren't that
The
concerned
beds were
about it.
comfortable. I slept.
Yeah, actually.
Did you guys
well,
sleep
We were
fine?
all
Yeah.
very tired, so I think we all had no problem
So
sleeping.
it was fine. And at the end of the day, that's really what you just need is a comfortable bed. It would have sucked even worse if it was a really uncomfortable bed and we were all like sore the next morning.
Well, and Anthony had you in his room, so you don't snore nearly as bad as I do, so I wasn't keeping anybody up.
Yeah, exactly. And that was kind of the point. And then
Thanks.
we headed into the detailed image. And this is really cool. They are actually like located on what is an old military base.
It's really interesting.
And we had to find our way in. We couldn't,
We go up to like this guard booth.
It looked
and you're
like it had
kinda
been
going, Wait a
abandoned."
minute, are we in the right place?
Yeah, so we went back around and then went through the actual entrance, but had to go in and they asked where we're headed.
Yeah, they want to know.
Security did, and we told them, and so we headed over there. And there's my phone ringing. Hold on a second.
Is it a FaceTime?
Sounds like a FaceTime.
Great.
Friend of the program. So anyway, we got to detailed image. Basically, it was an army base that was built to manufacture goods and services for the military right after World War II for the Korean War. and it had a train yard in the middle of it, so they could load everything from those factories,
Like move it along
and put it on on that stuff, and then be able to ship it straight to the docks, so it could go overseas or to the other train yards and things around the country and stuff. So, really a neat facility that they moved into, and they've been there about 11 years. So we went in, knocked on the door, got to got to see Greg and Mike again, but got to meet Reese and some of the other guys there. And we took a tour, wandered around. We spent most of the day with them till about 3 o'clock. We did a podcast, shot a couple videos. Really neat company. You guys are gonna have to stay tuned for that. But just awesome guys, super fun. We got some swag from them. Yeah. Which we need to repay the favor. Absolutely. And then we left detailedimage.com and headed. We were going to head south to Paramus because we had to. That was back to our home base, the Hampton Inn in Paramus,
which we know and love.
Yeah, it's a good hotel, and so we headed back. And an hour outside of Albany, we stopped in Saugerties, which we all kept pronouncing sugar tits or sausages.
Depends on who you were asking.
Because as you're coming up on the sign, you didn't really know what it said.
It just always kind of blurred in your mind. Like your mind is always auto-correcting it to something else.
It just was a jumble of letters that until we could sit down while we weren't driving, we weren't exactly sure what the letters, how they were arranged.
Basically, we figured out when you say it sounds like somebody trying to say Socrates while they're inebriated.
Yeah. So soccer tees. Yeah. It's basically what it was.
You wear a soccer tee to the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the soccer match.
Anyway.
So we found a restaurant. Dane, what did you guys find the restaurant Anthony found
we
originally?
were looking, and we found this place called the Dutch Ale House, because we were looking for something along our way, and we thought, well, it's been a long day, want to go grab a beer
we hadn't eaten
lunch,
anything since our thawed egos.
Get some food. We didn't have any food in our system, so we needed something a little more substantial. And we see this place. It's like, oh, they got beer, they got food. It's kind of a tavern pub type thing. That should be good. So we get there, and of course, there's zero warning online about this, but you pay for the meter, pull up, go up to the window, and in the window, there's a taped up piece of printer paper with printed on it.
At the front door.
Saying basically, sorry, anyone trying to come in here right now. We're actually having a private tasting for some, group or something. So tough of luck, you don't get to go in. So at that point, we decided, well, you paid for the meter. We should stick around town, try and find something around here. Had kind of an old town colonial charm to it. Everywhere you look, most of the construction looks like it kind of started in the 1700s, then ended after about 50 years, and then jumped up to the 70s, and then stopped there for a little while. So you kind of had weird compartmentalization of everything. Oh, and here's Anthony. All right. So we are now in Saugerties, and we are just beginning to walk around, try and find our way around.
So the old Dutch Ale House is closed.
Yeah. So we walked around. We didn't really have any kind of reference on our phones because the signal was frankly kind of bad there.
Well, no, I had reference.
You did?
And I noticed that all the restaurants were closed.
Yeah. It's
in
one
the
of those
city
towns
from
where it's
4
all
to
kinda,
6.
Yeah, it's
or
like
4 to 5.
Quiet time.
Or 3 to 5, and it was 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was strange. It was almost like but it was such a small town to where I think they can get away with doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah.
What do they call that in I think in Italy?
Siesta time?
Is that not in Italy?
And Spain it is.
Spain. The Spaniards are doing it right.
Everybody's taking a break before dinner time. Anyway, we're walking around. We go around a corner, and as we're looking, we kind of see there's like an opening on the right as we're walking up the street after we turn the corner.
Yeah.
And there's like a gap. And then there's a small building. It was purple. It was like an ice cream shack of a building. And then we notice a little further down from it, it's like this kind of patio. There's this walkway, and what appears to be a shop or a garage at the end of it with all the bay doors open.
Yep.
And if you look more closely, it's like painted totally black. Like if you weren't aware of your surroundings, you would have walked right past this not knowing what it was. But we noticed some like hallmarks of a bar. You could see kind of the pendant lights that were hanging on stuff. You could see some other like games.
Well, then we were worried that maybe it was just a bar.
Yeah, and we're thinking we want food though, so we were afraid to like go up and commit to anything.
Yeah,
but we walked up, and Anthony, I think you were the one who walked up to the bartender and said, "Where's a good place to get some food and drink around here?" And she immediately said, "Right here. You came to the right place. Right here." And we're looking around. We don't see a kitchen or anything, but actually,
it's a tiny place.
Wow! Shock! Their food was amazing. It was awesome.
It's about 2,400 square feet.
Yeah.
The place, and it was called the
Partition.
The Partition, and so it's the Partition Bar in Saugerties, New York.
So
shout out. Those guys deserve good reviews.
Is that I know there's other fellow listeners here that enjoy wings, right? Who enjoys hot wings, right?
Maybe they're in the Albany area.
Their hot wings at the Partition were the top 2 best wings I've ever had in my life.
And that's
you were
something.
serious about it.
No, dead serious.
Anthony's eating wings everywhere he goes.
I've had hundreds, maybe 1,000 different styles of wings.
He's a wing fiend.
Probably top 2 best I've ever had in my life, hands down.
Awesome.
Yeah,
out of a bar.
Out of a bar, and I even told them, I said, "Hey, man, these wings, because they did it right. Because not only did they do like your traditional buffalo style, but they did a dry rub seasoning on top of that with blue cheese." I was just like,
the chicken was quality. Everything was
Get out of here.
Had myself a brisket burger that was no joke either.
Delicious brisket burger.
Amazing.
And you had a salad as well, I believe.
I had a salad too, and you know what? I was looking at them. I was like, okay, you're not going to believe this, but the salad's really good too. Because normally you go to like a bar and you get a salad that's going to be kind of
the food was amazing.
It was awesome,
and it was well priced. All their bar food was like $5. Then they had like salad sandwiches.
I swear to God, they didn't pay us to say this. We just loved it that much.
No, like we had a good time. And one of the neat things was right at the end, they asked, like, what else can I get you guys? And I said, franchise information would be great because it was a perfect setup. It was 2,400 square feet, very simple bar, simple menu, very easy, and then a 14,000 square foot patio that had picnic tables, cornhole.
They had about
they're building a horseshoe pit.
Tables, yeah. They had a horseshoe pit on one side.
They've got an interactive fountain.
But the patio had like this kind of tile quality to it that you're looking for a pool. Like it looks like it belongs around a swimming pool, like a nice one. And you're just kind of looking around and you realize they have all these games and stuff. It was a really well done thing. But they did have an in-ground fountain.
They had good music. It was just a really good time. Like it was one of those places to where we could have chilled there for another 5 hours.
Easily.
And been happy.
Yeah.
And there was just enough to do, and just had a good vibe, and the weather was great.
We walked over to the ice cream stand, got some ice cream.
About 20 feet away was an actual ice cream shop, a sweet shop
that
had gelato as well as ice cream and fresh baked cookies.
Yeah.
And Levi, what did you get?
I got a chocolate malt.
You did, and you liked it.
It was good. Yeah.
Morgan got pistachio gelato.
Mm-hmm.
I got a hazelnut gelato topped with Nutella.
Yes.
And that was some.
And I stayed in the bar and ordered my specialty whiskey sour because the bartender told me she would make her own mix.
Let's just say she kept saying, if 2 of you wanted to stay
for trivia night,
and we were like,
I don't think that included me.
There's 4 of us.
Which 2?
Yeah. Which 2?
Oh
and I think she saw that you had a ring on your finger.
Yeah, possibly.
I do not yet.
And neither did Dane.
And neither did Dane. And so I think because she kind of like said that towards me and Dane, and then looked at Morgan and kind of like rolled her eyes, and I was like, oh, she wants her gone. And she wants us to hang around. I'm like, I see what's going on here. It was just a good time. So it was hard to say goodbye because really, like I said, we could have stayed there for hours.
Totally could have. Yeah, it was a great place, and I'm not a big bar fan.
Yeah, sure.
Because I don't drink. So me watching other people drink drinks is super fun.
But this had other stuff going on for it.
But like you said, the ambiance, the music, the weather, the little spot that it was in, everything was just perfect. Like it was beautiful.
And I want to point out 2 other things before we get too far into it. Namely, the ice cream shop. You actually talked about what we do as a business.
I did, and I sold some silver-infused towels to the owner.
She was interested.
She placed an order at theragcompany.com. You can, too, if you just go down to www.theragcompany.com. Go into the search bar and type in silver-infused. It's a silver-infused microfiber that kills the bacteria in the towel. So not only does it remove the bacteria from the surface, but the bacteria that gets caught in that towel within 24 hours... Dead.
So basically, if you're interested in us for our detailing stuff, you may not realize there's other stuff there too.
So she just needed to clean kitchen surfaces and stuff. And so anyway, that was really great. We finished out. Thank you to the Partition Bar at Saugerties for letting us hang out.
Really cool.
We had a great talk with the owners and the bartender.
We'll be back again.
Yeah, that is a place like I will seek out.
So if you're in that area, please go visit it if you're interested in that sort of thing, and tell them the Rag Company sent you.
Yeah. And then we got back in the car, and we had about an hour, 20-minute drive back to Paramus.
Yeah.
So
beautiful city, Paramus.
So we made it back to the hotel, checked in, and then took Morgan over to the Dead Mall.
If you remember last year,
that we went
at
to
that
last
mall
year
for dinner. with the RUPES guys.
And it was scary because we walked in and it was dead. And we were like, oh, this mall is failing.
Yeah.
This is sad
but
and
this
weird. This year we walk in and we're like, Morgan, this is the dead mall. It's really weird. Like all the cars parked here are probably just people working here. And then we walk in and it's like hopping.
Yeah.
And we're like, wow, we're a bunch of liars.
Okay.
She's like, this is looking really dead.
This looks like the mall in Boise.
Yeah. And we're like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, why are these people here?
So we walked a little farther and found the wings where it is literally nobody's there.
It's like a forgotten corner of the mall, and it is.
Yeah, and we're
dead.
Oh, here we go.
So
but we also found that restaurant.
Yes, and then the restaurant that we were at last year,
the Urban Coal House,
closed down, unfortunately, probably due to lack of
people
coming in. So Morgan did need to make an emergency stop at the
Sephora.
What did we do there, Morgan?
Well, we had a mishap at
while we were in Schenectady.
Yep.
At the Super 8.
We did have a mishap there. That morning, getting ready, I did drop my pallet due to lack of counter space.
No, it was due to the contact high from other rooms.
That is true. The mix of those unfortunate things
Elements
made it so that I dropped my powder eyebrow palette on the ground. It was a pressed powder, so once a pressed powder breaks, it's pretty much over for you unless you have rubbing alcohol. You basically have to mash it all back together,
you
pack
have to reform
it in.
it.
So at that point, it's like not worth it. I'm like, okay, well, I just have to get another one. I don't have time to fix this right now.
I'm not gonna have any.
Didn't you just
Jims.
have to go to the bathroom?
Nope.
Okay. So basically, that was it for my eyebrow palette, so I just threw it away. And then I told them, guess what, guys? We're going to have to go to a Sephora or Ulta at some point today because I need to replace that, and I need to be able to put eyebrows on my face.
Yeah.
So they were like, okay, we'll make time for that. We'll find a couple minutes to go do that.
Yep.
So we did stop into Sephora, which was not in a dead mall. It was in an alive area of the mall, apparently.
It was breathing.
Yeah.
So we went in there. I went in obviously for one thing, and I left with about $70 worth of things.
That's all right.
And these guys went to the back men's fragrance corner and
got ourselves some samples.
Yeah.
Didn't know that was a
Anthony
thing.
and I picked out some of the Spice Bomb Fresh, which, by the way, Carly did not like.
Oh, wow.
She did not like the way it smelled.
So
said it was too spicy.
I got the Jimmy Choo.
And you got Jimmy Choo.
Went home to Katie last night. She tackled me.
Oh,
and
very
so
nice.
it worked.
Good. Dane picked out Dior's new fragrance, Sausage.
Yeah. So
We called it sausage.
Dior's-
It's Sauvage.
I'm
but
pretty
yeah.
sure it
Stop.
said
We called it
sausage.
sausage.
It was absolutely sausage.
It was
And
Dior's
it was
new scent,
awesome.
Sausage.
Yeah. So did Liz tackle you when you got home?
No, but
loved
Callie did.
Oh, well, yeah, that.
It turns out there's dog. There's dog.
Oh, no, there's dog pheromones in this.
And so, Callie being a
couldn't stop
girl,
licking his face.
Yeah, it got weird. So
No.
we did get our colognes, and then from there went back to the hotel, the motel,
Holiday
at
Inn.
the Holiday Inn.
Well, it
Marriott?
was a Hampton Inn.
Hampton Inn. Yeah.
So we stayed there, spent the night, and then we went to the gas station. We went to the grocery store
Yeah.
because we needed to get some road snacks, and we had realized
and
that
vital
and
essentials.
trip essentials.
Yeah.
So we
Stop
head to
and
this
shop.
Stop and Shop right there in Paramus.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, folks, here in Idaho, we have very clean, well-lit
Streets.
streets and
Parking
grocery
lots.
stores.
Yeah.
parking lots, grocery stores, pretty
This
much
one-
anything.
It looked like it stopped in the
You said it was a-
80s,
you said it was
70s.
a-
The lighting was from the late 50s, early 60s. But
Yeah.
the actual store itself looked like it stopped in the
Like
80s.
the linoleum was probably from the 80s. They had
Yeah.
some hot and cold cycles on it, and then
But it looked interesting. So
it was also great to see a lot of rotten onions on the
There
floor.
were so many rotten
that was
onions.
We couldn't
kind
quite
of
figure that out.
it's a little strange.
Yeah, they once had a deli. Looks like it shut down. It is now a storage place for file cabinets.
Yep.
It was a strange place, but we ended up getting some essentials that we needed.
Yeah, they still had
things-
actual food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so that was good.
So we ended up picking up things like
Double stuffed Oreos.
family size of double stuffed Oreos, along with Chips
Ahoy.
Ahoy. We got a bag of the sour cream and cheddar Ruffles.
Got some Diet Pepsi.
Diet Pepsi, a case of White Claws,
Yep.
6-pack of what was that?
I got
Hogarden, delicious. Loved that, by the way. We had a meat and cheese
assortment
tray.
What happened to that, by the
crackers.
way?
We left it in the fridge.
You did?
Yeah, because we weren't packing that with us back on the plane.
Nope,
we
that's
should
not
have.
going in a suitcase.
And some monsters. So we got
Yeah.
everything that we needed to stay healthy over
for
the
the
next
week.
few days. For the week.
Yeah, it was great. But yeah, so we got our grocery shopping done, and we headed back to the hotel, went to sleep, woke up bright and early to meet our good friend G. Davis for breakfast.
The one and only G. Davis. So a lot of people may know who G. Davis is.
If you're a fan of the live.
If you're a fan, so G. Davis is one of our
super fans.
I wouldn't say super fan. I would say
fan of the program.
Fan of the program. A person that is
first time caller.
He's an
listener.
open mic,
listener,
open
yeah. I mean,
micer.
Many time commenter, many time listener.
So he's become a friend of ours over the course of 6 months or so since we started doing our live Q&A Thursdays. He has been there for almost every single one with these snarky comments from the back that we love.
They're amazing.
And he's a content creator in the sense that he has helped lead the charge on the Lifetime video that we were talking about for Dane.
Yeah. He has helped lead the charge on many of the jokes that we have.
The whole Cracker Barrel theme is courtesy of G. Davis.
Yeah.
Tandem bike rides.
G.
Davis.
He knows gold when he sees it.
So
Arbor Day.
Day.
Everything from, the parties that Dane would have as a child, we like to think that those happened because of G. Davis.
Yeah, cosmically they were influenced.
Yeah,
so he was out in the ether.
His name was Greg, awesome guy. He is retired, so he has plenty of time to hang out and listen to our podcast as well as detail on the side for fun. He says he details his neighbor's rigs. Just a really, really cool guy. So we met him the morning of. It was funny because we had no idea what he looked like.
Yeah.
So Greg, if you're listening to this, we had no idea what to expect, and we were pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
You were a normal person. We were pretty happy
it was
about
great.
that.
We didn't know if we were going to meet someone who wants to wear your face or wants to be your friend.
Well, fortunately for you, Dane, he made a shirt for Dane.
He did.
So he was wearing your face.
So I can wear my own face.
Yeah. This Q&A Thursday, you'll see Dane wearing that shirt.
I'm going to wear it to work. Embarrassing as it may be, I will subject myself to that.
I love it.
So, but we had a good breakfast with him, learned a little bit more about him, and then we jumped on the road because he was coming with us on the road to Swag Rides.
Yep. So we headed to New Britain, Connecticut for Swag Rides. 2-hour drive up. We hung out at Swag Rides. Travis Barnaby was there. John and Glenn from Swag Rides were there. We got to do some video stuff with them. Worked on a motorcycle for the police department.
Yeah.
Had a pizza party, which was fun.
Yeah. Sponsored by, his name was White Michael Jordan, is what we called him.
His name is Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah, so that was the running joke there. He was an awesome guy. It was funny because Michael Jordan, he is I don't want to say old salesman, but he's been in the sales industry for a while. He worked at a body shop.
He's an old school salesman.
Definitely from the East Coast. Mm-hmm. And he loved hearing about us, loved learning about us, and he thought it was super inspirational and cool. So we gave him our whole story. But the accents there are what make these people really who they are. And so, us not being from an area of a lot of accents, we hear these accents, and I think Italian mob.
Yeah.
Definitely from the Italian mob. Could be. But no, it was just a good time. We had pizza. We filmed a few different videos there, as well as worked on some cars. And then we went out back behind Swag Rides for a photo shoot.
For the most beautiful train tracks I've ever seen.
So picturesque
gorgeous.
back there. All these trees, just gorgeous, lush green.
Super
everything.
green.
Yeah.
Super lush.
The artwork on the back of the building.
Yeah. So they had some really cool graffiti artwork that these guys come and change up every week or so.
And before I forget, out in the parking lot, some kid decided to do something insane with a Chrysler Crossfire. He decided to basically turn it into a off-brand safari build. Giant knobby tires, lifted frame on a Chrysler Crossfire.
Let's just say
who does
Dane
that?
found his next purchase.
I just looked and I laughed because I'm like, who does that? But, I like the quirky stuff. So basically it's like Chrysler Crossfire and Suzuki Samurai had a baby.
Yeah, we went over to take pictures of ourselves on the train tracks, and Dane took pictures of himself with the Crossfire. So...
Anyway.
But yeah, no, it was fun. We had a good time there. The guys are really awesome. They're really good guys. Glenn is always on our live videos and always prolific.
If you're not familiar with Swag
Check out swagrides.com.
What they do, though.
They do cool stuff.
They do cool stuff. And so a lot of times they take young kids.
At-risk youth,
and then they train them and teach them how to do everything with car-related, from painting to body work, and put a hopefully good head on some better shoulders.
Yeah.
No, they're transforming lives,
Okay.
essentially. So, no, it's good. And the work they do is really good. When you actually see the cars up close and stuff, it's all real good work. And it's interesting to see their shop laid out with the paint booths, the different arrangements, all the cars they got stuffed in there. It's kind of a real hodgepodge of interesting stuff. What I found fascinating was that the building had this kind of weird split-level configuration. So, like, you'd be on one level, but then you'd look to your left and you'd see, oh, if you want to go upstairs, you go up, like, 3 steps and you're upstairs. But then there's, like, this basement thing underneath where they have, like, all this different paint equipment and different wheels and stuff. It looked cool. But, no, the whole shop arrangement was neat. I got a tour from Glenn, kind of going around looking at the different features of it. So I got a little video of that, and I'll put that into our travel vlog when it comes out.
Yeah.
But also the video.
Well,
folks.
John gave us some pretty cool tours around the backside as well.
Yeah, well, that was Glenn did around the back.
Yeah.
Glenn's bigger guy. John's little.
No, I said
okay.
John around the other side.
Oh, yeah, John did
His
too.
office.
Yeah, his offices, things like that. They are in the process of possibly filming a show that may be coming, so we did get to spend some time on the set for that. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that pans out, and we wish them a lot of luck. And we are going to be continuing to sponsor them and give them some items because we think it all goes to a really great cause, furthering the automotive industry.
Yep.
So then we packed up all our stuff, and we headed back towards Paramus, but this time we stopped.
Hold on, really quick, though.
What?
We forgot to show something. So,
Oh,
G. Davis,
crap. Yes.
upon picking up G. Davis, he gets in the car and says, hey, guys, I brought you some stuff, brought you some gifts. So he hands Dane the shirt, right?
Right.
Hands him a gift bag
Yep.
with Red Bulls, Slim Jims, and the collection of Herbie the Love Bug. The
Truly
full, complete
amazing.
Connection,
I like
1, 2,
4
3.
movie.
Wow, this guy listens.
4 movie disc collection. Pretty awesome. Got that for Dane. And then he said, for everybody else, I got some special treats for you.
Yes.
So within this little
Yummy
bin
things
here,
are inside this container.
So, his wife and the Asian landscaper made some amazing Rice Krispie treats. So these are truly works of art in TRC colors, and every single little ribbon on these little treats here, if you guys can't see this here, think of a Rice Krispie square on a stick that has googly eyes. And so this one right here, it says the Rag Company on it, but almost every other one has inside jokes from all of our good times on the podcast. Like right here, we have Eagle Blanket. On this one, we have Tandem Bike. There was Arbor Day 2019. There was Porch Swing.
There was Pool Party.
This one is Arbor Day right here. There was Pool Party.
A whole bunch of
Levi's.
live stream inside jokes.
So he
Yeah.
said the only one that he didn't want to make, that his wife refused to make, was
Bless
if-
your heart, Kim.
if you can hang
You
from
made
it,
the right
you can
decision.
bang from it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. that
So I
great.
was really disappointed in that, but hopefully
Cut
next
that part
time.
out, Tim.
Yeah.
No, don't cut that out. Leave it in.
But no, it was awesome. It was really nice that they thought of that kind of stuff, and that was really cool to be able to have that. So we took G. Davis and thank him for being a trooper and hanging out in a hot rod shop for 5 hours
Seriously,
with us. And just hanging out and talking.
Greg,
like-
if you hated it, let us know.
Yeah.
But we think you liked it. We think you had fun.
yeah.
We know how these things go, and there's a lot of downtime in between
Yeah.
the stuff you're doing. So you stuck it out. You're a trooper, man.
Yep. And so then we headed south back to Paramus. And on our way, we decided we were going to originally stop. We stopped in Sleepy Hollow. We got there just after everything closed.
Well, in between, we did our live stream.
Yes, and then on the road down, we did a live stream. So you guys can actually see, you can go back if you want and watch the live stream of the guys trying to hold the iPad while the car was bouncing on the Connecticut highways.
Yeah.
Um,
Reminded me of
It's,
Michael J. Fox's live feeds that he
I'll warn
runs.
you ahead
Yeah.
of time. It's
Super fun.
It's a
I'd say
doozy.
that.
that was very mean.
That
It's-
was-
that's real mean.
Yeah, we're gonna cut that out, probably, Tim. That
Just
could-
bleep it out.
What did you just say?
That could upset some people. Sorry.
What did you say?
Moving on.
But it was, but anyway, it was a lot of people were getting car sick on the live feed, even though they weren't in the car.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Sorry.
But we made it to Sleepy Hollow, and thankfully one of the guys that worked the museum gave us a quick little 10-minute tour.
They were closed. They had been closed
Yeah.
for an hour and a
It
half.
was super
Yeah.
nice.
The
He
guy
didn't
was
have
just
to do that.
just
Hanging
like
out.
Hanging out there. Apparently.
Yeah.
He could have been the headless horseman for all we know.
Oh no, that would have been scary. But anyway, so we went to Sleepy Hollow, wandered around, got to cross over the bridge, then went over to the cemetery and wandered around the cemetery, and that was creepy because it's one of the oldest cemeteries in the United States.
It's so cool.
It's
and
from 1600,
yeah,
late 1600s.
pretty crazy. And having John D. Rockefeller's graves there, and Washington Irving, who wrote Sleepy
Yeah.
Hollow, his grave was there. The oak trees on the property are
several
hundred years old, and pretty amazing that they're
and you
there.
know where those roots go.
And they do say that the Headless Horseman starts every night there, is what he does. Right when the sun goes down, that's where
that's where he ends.
Oh, he ends there.
Yeah.
You sure?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Chases him. Chases him up
Okay.
up Broadway to the bridge, and the bridge is the stopping point. He can't
Do you
cross
think that maybe he wants to start, opposite?
No.
Change things
Maybe
up a little
wants
bit?
to spice
No.
it up a little once in a while.
That's not how it works.
Okay. Well, I just don't.
It's called a ghost story, Anthony.
I'm sure there's a lot of
Constrained by laws.
politics behind all of that we're not going to get into.
Oh my!
Semantics.
Sure, there are some politics behind it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so we hung out there, and then the main reason was last year we got stuck on the bridge because it was
Tappan Zee
under
Bridge.
construction, the Tappan Zee Bridge, and I remember looking at the GPS, going like, wait, Sleepy Hollow's right there, and we're sitting here for 45 minutes, not doing any. Like, we literally did not move. It sucked last year. So this year, I said, well, let's just stop there first. We'll wait till the traffic dies down, and then we'll head back. Because from the hotel to there, it's 20 minutes. So we did that. It worked out great. We made it back to the hotel. We changed. We regrouped. And Dylan Von Kleist, Troy, the new Mountain States rep for RUPES, as well as Jason Kilmer from KXK, all arrived. And we were able to go out to dinner with them.
We were. And where did we go?
Bonefish.
Bonefish,
Yes,
which
sir.
actually happened to have the some of the highest reviews in Paramus.
Also
which-
a nationwide chain,
which
which
di-
is
I didn't
kind of
know they were a
surprising.
chain until we saw one there. I just assumed it was a Boise thing.
Doesn't say much about the city of Paramus, but it's what we had. It was close by, it within walking distance. So we
It was
headed over
close
there.
by. It was like a block away.
Yeah, so we had that, and I got to check out Dylan Von Kleist's new rental that he got. It was an Audi A5 Sportback.
Yeah.
And
He fell in love with
we
it.
got to rip on that pretty hard for that 100 feet, and it was good.
100 feet. You guys actually got in it and drove while the rest of us walked across
and we
the parking
beat them
lot.
there.
Well, Morgan got in the front seat because that's just Morgan's life.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, I'm hopping in the back seat because if I can at
Because that's your life.
least experience what this thing is like, then
From
I
the
will.
back.
Yeah.
In the back seat.
So anyways, so we went to Bonefish, had a great dinner, went back to the hotel. We all had a long night. We were gonna do a super podcast, but unfortunately Dane had left some of the gear at
No, that
Detailers.
was still Friday
Oh.
or Thursday. We hadn't.
Oh.
We still had the gear. We
Oh.
could have done one.
We were tired that
We were
night.
all very tired.
Everybody
That's
was
what it
too
was.
tired.
On the plane.
And then we planned to do it the following night, but I had deliberately left the gear that following night.
We don't even
trying
know
to be
if you guys
proactive.
like the super podcast. If you like the super podcast, leave
Yeah.
a comment below letting us know you like it so
Yeah.
we can do it again
Yeah,
soon.
exactly.
Yeah.
But then the next morning we woke up and all of us headed over to Phil's place, detailersdomain.com. And it was the start of the first education day. So Friday was education day. So we had a class put on by KXK. Then the second part was by RUPES. And then the third part was by us. And Morgan got to take that class. And there was a lot of delicious treats and food for the morning,
Oh,
which was amazing.
amazing.
I mean, Phil's not just a guy that's going to pick up some coffee and donuts. He
No.
picks up some coffee and then he gets like homemade pastries
That
and
man
like
knows his way.
So
finger
those
sandwiches
those
and
pastries were fantastic. So there was one. It was like
Fluffy.
it was like a chocolate truffle type of pastry. It was chocolate with the inside being a buttery, flaky croissant.
Yeah.
There must have been a stick of butter in each one of those.
it was felt like it.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. And then kimchi smoke
Yes.
came
forget.
through for the lunchtime. That was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, no. Kevin came up to me as I was eating another one of my croissant sandwiches, and he comes up to me and says, "Don't get too full. Korean barbecue coming soon. Really good." He said something like it was
And
something
they said
like
kimchi smoke.
that. Kimchi smoke. Yeah, it was really funny, and I was like, "All right, Kevin." I spit out my sandwich right out of my mouth.
Kevin
You just threw it right in the
is-
trash.
Yeah.
You just spit it. You were like, ah.
Kevin is hilarious. He's deadpan. You don't know when he's messing with you or when he's.
I liked his
just-
line when he said, "That's my Chinese daddy."
Who do you say that?
When we were getting our photo taken. Remember when we were all standing in front of the thing and taking pictures after that?
Oh, yeah.
And he was waving at he had his buddy take a picture and then said, "That was my Chinese daddy."
Oh, no.
That was pretty funny. We were all laughing. He was like totally serious about it. And then he was like,
dude's a crack
yeah,
up.
he's funny. So
Enjoy
he works
him.
for Detailers Domain. He helps Phil pack orders and ship and detail and clear bra. And he does everything. So Kevin makes that place run.
He knows his stuff.
So does Sue, who works there.
Sue. Sue is like
she's the
Detailers
boss.
Domains John.
Yeah, easy way to describe it. So
We have
they
John, they have Sue.
So we had a great time, great turnout for the class. Morgan, what did you think? Did you like it?
Yeah, I liked it.
Did you learn anything new?
I hope so.
She's like, I'm trying to think about
Why
that.
we brought her, but whatever.
I'm gonna write. Don't worry, I'll write you some questions that you can.
I already know a lot of things.
Oh,
Prove it, dude. Throw down.
What did you learn about the wool?
true.
What do you mean? What did I
About the
learn?
wool pads? What did you learn about them? What's one of the main key tenets of why you use wool?
For making a lot of cut.
No.
For I don't understand the context of your question. What are you looking for?
What's
What are the
what is
benefits of a wool pad?
over a microfiber pad?
It's cooler.
There you go. See, she did learn something. So yeah, so we got to do that, and then we went to dinner. Phil took us out to dinner. He said, "Go home, go back to the hotel, regroup, and then meet at the restaurant." And what'd you think of the restaurant?
Insane.
It was nuts.
It
insane.
was something else. It's weird. I've been to some nice restaurants, but this one just had a different feel. This felt like, oh, you're playing at like the Billionaire's Country Club kind of place.
It's because it was on a country club. I love that in the
was
meeting
very much
earlier
country
today,
club
Dane
vibe.
said it had a really weird country club vibe.
Like
And
I didn't realize it
And I
was.
said, it's because it's on a country club.
country club.
Like we passed the sign, and it was like when we entered, it was
just
like you're
looked
on
about
this
like-
country club.
You go around and you go up to the front of this building, and there's a little driveway that goes around the side and then goes up.
If you guys
back,
are
and you're
wondering,
like,
it's called The Hill.
it's just called the Hill.
That's the name of the restaurant.
Fancy, classy font. But you get up there, you drive up, you turn this corner, and you realize you're being guided by cones at that point. There's no parking lot per se. You just pull up, and there's valet waiting right in
Yep.
front of the cone they've guided you to, and he's like, "I'll take it from here." And then at that point, you're at their mercy. So
It was great though. We Phil just bought just about everything on the menu, practically, and
What'd you have?
I had a steak, and then I had a ice cream sundae at the end.
I feel like we had literally everything.
I'll tell you what I had. I had octopus.
Yeah.
Yes,
I had
the octopus
I had
was
salmon
fantastic.
ceviche. I had some type of mound of tuna. I had octopus. I already said that. I had raw oysters
Mm-hmm.
with lemon and vinegar, and it was amazing. An aphrodisiac, as some people would say. I also had fries. I
You had French
some-
fries with
Those
some
fries
Truffle
with
fries.
duck
were
fat and truffle
nuts.
salt. Bougie
and
fries, as we call them up
Basically,
here.
yeah.
And then I had
Chocolate
a fettuccine that was basically sautéed with, had some shrimp inside it. Also had anchovies, really good as well. On top of that, there was all sorts of other stuff. I had some of Morgan's salmon. She had some left over, and I said, hey, I'm going to eat that. Some of the best salmon I've ever had in my life. It was very gluttonous.
It
And
was
bread.
Yeah, a lot of bread. It was good. I had a lot of bread. Had the steak, and then had the fingerling potatoes, and then I had the ice cream sandwich. Or not ice cream.
Dessert.
I had the ice cream sandwich, but I also had an ice cream sundae.
So I like the way Phil orders, because Phil says, hey, guys, get what you want. And then he looks at the waiter and he says, all right, can I get one of every single one of these entrees? And the guy looks at him. He says, oh, it's just for the table so we can all share. But he looks like, well, but they already got their own entrees. Phil doesn't give a shit. He just ordered it anyways. And so there was so much food. We were extremely full. And what was really cool is every time we went to the bathroom, we'd come back to a folded napkin on our plate.
Yeah.
It's
Just
one of
like that.
those places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
The
ice-
cheesecake, by the way, loved it.
cheesecake. Ice cream.
How was the
Dane,
cheesecake?
Dane asked. Dane
Chocolate
asked
mousse.
the waiter.
They made so
"How's
much
the
fun-
cheesecake.
They made so much
How
fun
is
of
the
me
cheesecake?
for asking, like, because other people were asking, well, what's this? How's this? So I was like, okay, the cheesecake. I'm assuming nice place. They must do something special.
Well, you are in the East Coast, in the area of New York, near New York, where cheesecake was
Which naturally,
originated.
then I'm going to want a cheesecake if that's on the menu and that's being made available to me. I'm going to ask about it. So I
Well-
did, and then the others look at me like, "Why are you
It
asking?
wasn't.
You
It
know it's
wasn't
gonna
what
be good."
you said. It was how you said it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it
how
wasn't.
did I say it?
You were sitting there with probably your legs crossed like this.
Yeah,
How's the cheesecake?
yeah. It was very pretentious and fancy.
Yeah. You could have just been like,
for
oh,
Dane.
is a cheesecake good? Like, do you like
Yeah.
the cheesecake? No, he goes,
Yeah.
how's the cheesecake?
Yeah, that's
all
what we
like-
were all dying
They were
about because
almost positive that Dane was in his plaid shorts and flannel jet shirt. I was just like, wow, he's really putting on the...
It's
putting
so
on
funny
airs.
because
Putting on some
I
hard
am-
airs.
I think I did that because I was so out of my element. I'm like, act like you belong, and I just full overshot it and just went right into like. Tell me.
The whole time though, you've got
So
the rest of us all sitting there next to you. And we're all like,
And we were drinking whiskey
Travis,
sours with egg whites.
By the way, that's my test. As you know, my test is, okay, if I go to a place and I think it's going to be a nice place, I'll test to see. Okay, I'll ask for a whiskey sour as my drink. And if they offer it to you with egg white in it, that means it's a really, really good place and they know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And if they look at you funny, like, well, why would we do that? Then you know, oh, it's probably more of a party bar. They're not going to give you the egg white. They think that's weird. And you're going to get some sour mix that came out from underneath a countertop. So that was kind of my gauge. I said it once. The guy knew exactly what I meant. Got it. Came back with one of the best whiskey sours I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, it was really, really good. And we had the chocolate mousse with strawberries.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
yes.
That
Killer.
was delectable. That was very good.
The texture and everything was insane. I realized we're just really upsetting people listening to this
Sorry.
right now because all they can do is think about this and think about what jerks we are for talking.
You know what?
about it.
But our normal lives are what's in front of us here, which is Slim Jim's.
I mean, this is what we're used
Australian
to.
licorice and Stroop waffles.
I choose.
So every once in a while we get to little
Yeah, it
fancy.
was good, but it was fun. We got to hang out with everybody. Then we went back to the hotel. We went up to Travis's room to hang out for a bit, and they started geeking out on music. And,
they went deep.
I was just tired.
Yeah.
And so we all went back to the rooms, and the one thing we didn't talk about when we first got to the hotel in Paramus.
Yeah.
I walked up to check us in, and
right.
I asked to go, do you guys have our rollaway bed?
Yeah, trundle bed, whatever you want to call it.
And they said, oh, I'm sorry, sir, we don't have any of those. And I said,
That's weird.
funny, because I asked for it.
Like a week ago on the phone just to make sure.
Just to make sure. And they said, yes, don't know what you're talking about. We don't have those. I'm like, lovely. So we had to figure out what we were going to do. Well, when we got up there, we checked the two rooms and found that one of the rooms was much smaller than the other. They're both queen-size rooms, but one of the rooms had an actual spot for a trundle bed.
There was a bed, and then there was like a bed-sized gap.
Yeah, which
between it
explains why when I asked for a trundle bed, they would give us that room, right?
Sure.
So we had to figure out how to make this work. Well, we got the brilliant idea to just take one of the mattresses off of Morgan's room and put it in our room. So that's how we slept. So three beds deep in there. That looks like poop.
Sorry, it's the Slim Jim.
Sorry for those who are
Anthony's
rolling
up a Slim
watching.
Jim in a circle. But anyway, that was how we went back to the hotel, went to bed. Anthony had a great time sleeping with Dane and I, snoring.
I think he thought that you didn't snore.
I snore silently.
So
I would
snore
like
regular
to
snore.
I'm a
I would
quiet
love to be
snorer.
able to play a small clip for everybody. If
You're more than welcome to.
Everybody just be quiet for a
Please
second.
share. Please share.
Wait for it. There were moments where he stopped breathing. So that was my
Dane
night.
had a snore strip, a breathe
I
right
had
strip.
a breathe right strip on my nose. Wasn't
over his
enough.
nose. Oh, and I've got a video I need to play here for you guys as well. This was Friday morning, so we get up, right? So we're all getting up early because we have to go to Phil. Or no, it was Saturday morning to go to Phil's so we could do the start our open house, and this is this one. In this one, Dane is sound asleep.
I think we get the point.
But he's holding his phone.
I think we can see on the screen there. Can you give us a better
Yeah.
view?
Oh, thanks. You know,
Let me get back there. Hold on.
everybody wants some.
That's how Dane was sleeping.
Oh my God.
He's holding his
So,
phone perfectly.
I had been reading and I fell asleep that way.
That means
and
you
it stayed
literally didn't
perfectly
move the
rigid.
entire night.
Yeah,
I'm good at that.
yeah.
So Dane was holding his phone perfectly, but
Oh,
it was
man.
plugged in still and charging, which was nice.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
So, needless to say that it was just a very wholesome night of sleep.
Yeah. So we got
Tired.
to Phil's on Saturday morning. Anthony was running on almost no sleep now at this point.
Team no sleep.
Team no sleep. And I slept great the whole week. I don't know about you guys.
I did too.
Good.
Thank you for
Nice.
asking.
Well, Morgan
You're
must
welcome.
be nice.
So we got to Phil's, and we had to restructure, set up our booth basically. So we moved it around from Education Day to Trade Show Day kind of thing.
Yep.
So it was us. RUPES did the same thing. KXK set up a spot to play with sanding blocks. Sonax and Metrovac and NextZet were there as well. And they kind of set up for it. Larry Casilla had set up outside a little spot for his stuff. And then cars started rolling in.
Yeah.
A lot of fun cars. Morgan was in her element.
Oh,
I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly. I think you were in heaven is what you
I
were
was.
in.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
where I belonged. Yeah.
So, needless to say, I think we may be losing an employee soon. She might just move there. I feel real sad.
I wasn't gonna say it on the.
Oh, on the
Podcast
podcast?
here.
I see.
Ooh. Oh, she's just going to burn us like that.
But I'm just gonna have to start a shop over there, a mini East
You could be the
Coast-
new queen of
Okay.
the East.
Yes. I
Oh.
will.
Go work with
Yeah.
Lucille
learn,
at BBS.
learn from the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Start setting up wheels on cars. But no, we got to meet a lot of great people that day. And what was nice was Luke Berge came
Holy
and
cow.
worked our
That
booth.
kid.
Did we skip
Wow.
Education Day?
We already did talk about Education Day. So, but Luke Berge showed up, drove up from Pennsylvania, and actually spent the entire day working our booth and killing it.
We didn't ask
Absolutely
for that. He was so
killing it.
ecstatic, excited to do it.
Luke, champion, dude. Champion.
Well, in fairness, it wasn't like, Luke, go work the booth while we
No,
walk around. It was
no.
like he just kind of finagled his way back there, and then he never left.
Yeah,
Like
and he did
just
a great
kept going,
job.
and he did an amazing job. He knew all the right things,
Mm-hmm.
and he was educating folks on stuff. Like, he clearly listens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was really great. So it allowed the four of us to be able to mingle and actually do the event the right way, where we were able to talk to lots of folks,
Because it feels like there's never enough of you.
do a little networking, things like that.
He was the MVP. Seriously.
No, seriously,
On
Luke,
that
you're
day.
the MVP.
He really saved our butts that day. So that was really cool. Morgan got to go for a ride in some of the cars there. She got to rev up. That was on Friday night. Friday, you got to rev up Kevin's M4 GTS, and
I got to rev up the M5, which
yeah.
I loved.
Dane got to rev
Oh.
up his new M5. Phil got his new M2 competition package delivered.
That
Which
day.
he
that day
handed
on
the keys to
Saturday.
Anthony, and Anthony's like, "This is too much responsibility."
Well, the wrapping was still on the seats.
The car
And I
was brand
like-
new, and Phil
I
hadn't
was
even
like-
driven
Phil
it
had
yet.
never driven it
Yeah,
at
and
all.
he's like, go take it for a spin. I'm like, dude, with these potholes and that kind of stress, I'm like, I love it. I would love to.
it's your dream. It's your attainable dream car.
It is not. I wouldn't say dream car. It's the obtainable car I would really like to
I
upgrade.
was just like,
to.
he talks
Yeah.
about M2s a lot.
I love them. I think they're amazing. I don't know what my dream car is, but I think my dream car is an R34 Skyline. But I don't think that's gonna be happening anytime soon.
Yeah.
So
You never know.
I don't know.
But it was good. Saturday night, we headed back, or we went to dinner. We went to lunch after the event was over.
Yep.
We headed over with the team to go have lunch and get some burgers. That's where Dane suffered this wonderful burn that you see on his face.
You
and
see how
arms.
red I am now?
I think you look glowing and tan.
He does.
It's
does.
turning into a tan, but on Saturday it was most definitely scorching burns. And let's just get into how that went down. I want Anthony to explain it because I love
Yeah,
the
there
way
you
he
go.
plays it out
He's
like
busy.
a radio play. He's a little preoccupied.
I'm gonna
by
go to the
soda
bathroom.
bottle.
Yeah. So it was my favorite. So basically.
It's a long podcast.
It's a long
Yeah.
podcast. So basically, it was my favorite thing ever. We sit down for this this burger. Well, it was a burger joint, but we were all just getting appetizers
The
for the most
menus
part.
were iPads. Like, this is all just
Yeah.
so not what I'm used to.
Yeah.
Everything is.
We sit down. We order a couple burgers, right? And I noticed that out of all the seats there, right, when we're walking up to the table, we see that there's some shaded area, but most of the seats have been taken. So naturally, I'm like, oh, there's some shade over there. I'm gonna walk over there. Morgan was right next to me, and she's like, okay, I'm just going to jump in the shade as well. Levi was on a phone call, but he was ended up finding some shade for himself as well at the end of a table. Then there was one spot left, and technically the only spot, right in the sun. And Dane sees it. And Dane, what was your reason for wanting to sit there?
Well, see, there was this long table, and everybody was at it. And we were behind the building. The sun was shining down, but there was a corner of the building, right about more or less where the table ended. And the sunlight came in just such a way that it moved in on the first chair on the far side of the table. That was like the only one actually being struck by sunlight. And no one was sitting there. And I looked at it, and I kind of casually played it off like, oh, let me get a picture of everybody, because I was deciding whether or not to sit in that chair. And then as I looked around, I realized I've been had. Everybody else has a seat now. This is the only chair left. I'm looking at it thinking, that's going to be a hot chair. Yeah. But also, my problem was I looked and saw who was sat around it, and it was all these folks from one of the companies, Sonax. I hadn't spoken to these folks. I'd spoken to literally everybody else at this event. So I was already familiar with everybody except for these guys. So I hadn't spoken with them, and I'm wearing all my TRC gear, and the last thing I want to do is be misconstrued as some jerk for not wanting to sit next to people and talk to them.
Yeah.
Well, I went against my better judgment, and I went and I sat in that chair, thought, this is a hot chair. And then I basically just kind of sat there and burned for the rest of the afternoon, just enjoying the small talk. And the folks, they were so nice. They were really nice folks. But it was so damn hot.
It's my favorite because we're looking hot. Every time I look over at Dane just has like this.
It was already a 90-degree day.
Yeah.
But then you had the sun, and everybody else is safe from it. Not me though. And I got my mohawk, so naturally, a lot of red going on up there too. But so that was fun. Everybody else had their water as well, I want to point out, and there was no water for that particular chair that I sat in because they'd already been sitting for a little while before we came in. So I sat there without water, just enjoying the small talk, bobbing my head, and everybody else ordered their drinks. Everything came in, and they looked around and like, oh, didn't you order a drink, sir? And I was like, yeah, I had a drink. And then he looks like, oh, sorry, we forgot it. So it was about 20 minutes before I had any
Dane
kind
sitting
of
in the hot
drink
sun.
In that hot sun, just soaking it.
Just
Didn't have
enjoying it.
sunglasses, so my eyes are burning.
Yeah.
I know everybody's listening. Let's just hear Dane suffer. That sounds good.
It's great.
But no, Anthony was dying laughing over in his corner, and Morgan looks up and just like, give me a thumbs up, like, you good, buddy?
So when I sat down, there was no spot for me at all. Dane at least had a chair. I had to find a chair. Found 3 of them that were all broken. And finally, they brought a chair out from the restaurant, from inside the restaurant, out for me. And during that whole time, I was trying to get Dane's attention to come sit down with me because I could see that he was dying in the sun, and he just kind of was ignoring me. And I thought, well, okay, maybe he likes to sit there, so I'll just
I was doing my best to seem engaged.
In the shade. There's plenty of room for him over here, but that's cool. Whatever.
I want to be a good ambassador, a good representative
Dane, and that's why you are the prince of the rag company. You sacrifice yourself in so many ways.
For no good reason. Like, these guys are all like, I wouldn't have done that. I would have told them, like, sorry, that's sun, bye. And I'm sitting there over here. I wish I had done that, but at the same time, like, I didn't want to.
It's all right. That's all right.
Be that guy. So.
But yeah, so then after that, we headed back to the hotel, dressed and regrouped, and we met our friend Scott Weiss of Konig and his lovely wife, Tiffany, to go to dinner with them. We had dinner with those 2 and the 4 of us, and it was great. It was a lovely little restaurant.
By
butcher
Phil's
shop.
recommendation.
Yeah, it was one of Phil's recommendations, and we had a really, really good talk. If you guys haven't, go check out Scott's podcast,
Behind the
Wheel, the Konig Wheels podcast.
Behind the Wheel, a Konig Wheel story.
A wheel story.
Yeah.
It's really great. And he does a really good job of it. If you like listening about cars, you like talking Formula Drift stuff, that he's got a really great podcast for that. So had a great conversation. I mean, we closed that restaurant down. We were there for 4 hours. It was insane. Yeah. He's just a great guy. We have a lot of fun when we're with him, and it was awesome to be able to spend time with him on this trip and at least get to see him. Yeah. And then Morgan, you left. You had some friends pick you up. What'd you go do?
So we weren't really sure what our plan was, but I had a couple friends who lived in New Jersey, and it would have felt wrong for me to go there and not, even just make a little bit of time to meet up with them. So I was like, hey, do you guys want to go into the city for just a little bit? Nothing, crazy, but just that I can say that
You went into New York.
Yeah. Went into New York. So
touristy stuff.
Exactly. So they were like, okay, one of them lived in some southern-ish New Jersey, but New Jersey isn't huge. So, driving across the state is only 2 hours or something like that. So one of my friends drove up and picked up 2 of my other friends, and then they waited outside the restaurant for us to be finished. I dipped out a little early, and then we drove into the city. Like I said, we didn't really have a plan of what we were doing, but we just knew that we were going to head in there and hang out for a bit. So we didn't know where we were going. We just drove in and looked for the first parking garage that we could find that was, in an area where we would be able to find something to do.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting pretty close to Times Square. One of my friends said that she wanted to avoid Times Square because it is so busy.
Crazy. And it was a Saturday night.
And it was a Saturday night. So that didn't go exactly how she wanted it to, but we were all just trying to be team players there. So
Give
we
you the
parked.
New York experience.
Yeah, so we parked and we were walking around for probably a good half hour trying to find somewhere to go hang out that wasn't going to be too crazy, that we could still enjoy each other's company but also have fun. So we ended up finding a cute little spot. We got just like some margaritas. They were pretty good. And we hung out there for a little bit, and then they were all pretty tired because they were in the car for a bit. So they were like, okay, like, I'm ready to go home. Like, one of them, the one who lived in South Jersey, had to drive back home. So I felt bad keeping him out late. So we got back to the car, which took us about a half hour to maneuver through all of the people.
But you made it to Times Square.
Yes.
You did make it to Times Square.
Well, where we were eating and drinking was literally like on the street of Times Square.
Yeah.
Like, so we were right there. So that was cool. But we ended up.
Have been cheap.
No, it wasn't at all. So
They know tourists go there.
Yep. So we made it back to the car. Apparently it was like $65 to park there for an hour and a half, maybe. And it was weird because the parking garage is there. You don't drive your car. You valet it pretty much.
Okay.
So they drove it down and then pulled it back up for us. So that probably added to the cost there a bit, but we got the car back, left the city, and it was maybe like a half-hour drive back to the hotel, and it started raining while we were out. So when we drove back, we kind of all ran into the lobby of the hotel, and then we were all, saying goodbye and whatnot. And then I went back upstairs. At that point, it was like 1:30, 1:45. It was almost 2-ish. And then I was like, all right, we're leaving for the airport in about an hour, so there's no point in me going to sleep.
Trying to sleep, yeah.
So I was like, I'm just going to start packing my stuff up and just kind of chilling.
Yeah.
And then Anthony texted me at like 2:30ish, and he was like, hey, we need to bring the mattress back. And I was like, I'm ready whenever you guys are. And then 15 minutes later, we
were in the van,
peaced out.
packed and ready to go, and we were out the door at 3:35 a.m. That was a early morning. Because for us, it's 2 hours ahead. So we basically woke up and we were leaving for the airport at 1 a.m. So realistically, like yesterday, we woke up at midnight and then started our day, which is weird.
Yeah.
But
And there was several days in a row of getting up early in the morning, so naturally by this point you're really feeling it.
Yeah, so we headed over we had to fill the rental car up with gas, and we stopped at a wonderful gas station in New Jersey.
Best.
That's quite possibly something out of the RoboCop series, 1980s Detroit.
Yeah, exactly. The best touch, though, the computer chairs sitting on each elevated station with the two Phillips
worn,
stations.
torn up, destroyed. I love the filing cabinet outside the gas tank. That was very nice.
I like the trash everywhere.
Yeah, the garbage on the ground.
I've got video, a little bit of this that I'll be putting.
I liked
into
all
the
the
travel
shovels
vlog.
that they just stored
in
random spots
for all the
in garbage bags. That was great.
Questionable.
Broken rubble looked like it had been bombed out at one point.
Well, it's funny because we were on a very nice, well-lit area, and then we took one turn and we went
to go to a Gulf station that our GPS sent us to, and I was like, wow.
Good job, GPS.
So we went there, got gas, then headed back to the rental car return, dropped the rental car off, left a 4-pack of Red Bulls for the rental car people. She was very appreciative of that. I assume because it was 4:30 in the morning, she was very excited.
Here you go. Enjoy.
Yeah, and then we made our way got on the SkyTrain. It was a good thing we got there early when we did, because we did have to wait some time to get on the next one. And thankfully, we were able to make it to our Delta desk to check in and start our way in by 5 o'clock, which was perfect, which is kind of what we were hoping for because our flight was at 7.
Yeah.
And we needed to get there with plenty of time. And Newark's just such a weird airport because it's always
Newark
under construction. And you never really quite know what's going on. So that was great. But the flight home, Anthony.
So the flight home, we were all pretty exhausted, right? So we're pretty much at this airport. We stop and get some Starbucks just to kind of wake up a little bit. I got a cold brew. Morgan got a little caramel latte type of thing. I got some banana bread. And Dane and Levi got a venti mocha.
To share.
20 ounces. No, they got their own. And so
we each got our own. That's
so
right.
Morgan is like, that's risky. And I said, yeah, I agree. That's a lot of coffee. A lot of coffee for a plane ride. So first thing we do, we get on this plane. Starts out pretty great. 5 or 4 hour plane ride, which felt more like 7 hours. Right off the bat, start playing some Nintendo Switch. Morgan's watching a movie. Dane's kind of just hanging in there. And I look
I'm falling
over,
asleep watching Last of the Mohicans.
and I see Dane jolt up really fast. I'm like, what the heck's going on?
You got to understand, I'm normally a perfectly good flyer. Like, I'll tolerate a lot.
So I see him jolt up, and I'm like, what's going on over there? And I look, and he is dry heaving. He has his hand over his mouth, and I'm like, holy he's about to throw up on Morgan or me, right? And I say, hey, are you good? And guys, 100% of the time, whenever I ask Dane, I say, hey, are you good? He's always gives me a thumbs up. He's like, oh, I'm good, right? I asked him, hey, Dane, are you good? He looks at me, straight face, and just shakes his head. I'm like, oh, that's not good, right? Like, he is not feeling well. You can see
I'm sweating.
He is sweating. He's got, he's about to pretty much
and he's sitting in between you and Morgan.
Correct.
Like, it was a bumpy flight. There was a lot of motion and stuff, and I've been on so many flights and stuff. It's fine. I never get motion
And I'm
sick.
the guy that always has Dramamine.
Yeah, I didn't do any of that, but I had my backpack with the laptop and all the other stuff on top of my feet. The row was kind of cinched together. I felt like I didn't have any circulation in my legs. Add all that stuff up, and normally, even then, I'd tolerate it, but something about this particular arrangement with the lack of sleep and everything put together, it just didn't work. And we like to think the coffee may have contributed a little to that, too.
It absolutely did.
It didn't affect me at all.
Yeah. So, anyways, so long flight. We held in there, and we finally made it to Salt Lake for a quick layover.
I mean, 10 minutes.
10-minute layover.
We had to run.
Made it to the plane, and then it was a quick 45-minute hop and skip over to Boise.
Yeah, we were able to land in Boise by noon. 12:11 is when we landed. It was really nice to be able to finally. Normally, when we fly home, it's midnight. And so it was great to have the day. My kids met me at the gate, which was
cute.
I'm going to airdrop you that video so you can add it into the travel vlog.
That'll go in there, yeah.
It was fun. They were waiting. My wife took a video of them waiting for me, and they were super excited. And then we went home. I got some food with the family. I got to go home. We had some lunch. They gave me my Father's Day gifts, which was great. So I got a pair of Captain America socks. I got 20 finger puppets that my daughter made herself and attached to pens. 20 of them.
Wow.
Augie gave me a Diet Pepsi, can of Diet Pepsi. One can. My wife got me a gift certificate to Five Guys, and then they got me a pack of EL Fudges, double stuffed EL Fudges. So pretty awesome to get that for Father's Day. And then when we got off the plane, I pulled something, lifting the Pelican case out of the overhead compartment,
Shoulder, right?
and popped my shoulder out, which is the same pain I felt back in February.
Oh, no.
So during this podcast, I have a icy hot patch under my armpit and over my shoulder, and I'm actually going to be going to see a chiropractor here in the next 40 minutes to go see if I can get adjusted a little bit. And then I've got a friend, our massage therapist, who's coming over tomorrow night to try and work on me. But I came home, I took a nap.
Yeah.
And then later on took a pain pill and then really took a nap. So that was my day for the rest of the weekend. What'd you guys do when you got home?
Well, you want to go, Anthony?
Yeah. Went home, took a nap.
Nice.
Woke up, went to my parents' house for Father's Day, had a Father's Day dinner, went back to my house, washed the Civic, fell asleep.
Nice. Good. Morgan?
I went home immediately fell asleep. Then Brandon woke me up because he wanted to go get sushi. So we went to get sushi. I came back home probably about 3:30. Fell asleep again. Got woken up at 9 p.m. because Brandon made spaghetti. So then, I don't know, I ate the spaghetti and then I went back to sleep.
Nice. Dane.
It's still not enough sleep,
I know.
guys.
I was gonna say.
I'm out of it right now.
It's been a long day.
It feels like a broken record, but Liz picked me up. I got home. Just as I was going in the door, the dog ran out. And when
so you had to go for a run.
When she gets
She
out,
likes to run.
She goes, and she is fast. Pyrenees Red Heeler mix, for those who don't know. But she can haul. So she took off, and of course, it was like, I'm so tired. I'm so just like fried.
You're like, I hope she gets hit by a car.
And it's just hot out.
Jeez.
The one time you don't care about chasing your
There's a part of me that's like, right now, really,
Yeah.
right now. Half an hour searching through the neighborhood. Eventually, Liz and I go back, get in the car, start driving around, asking neighbors who are out, have you seen a dog? You know, trying to find her. Until eventually, I get a phone call. And I'm like, oh, thank God she has her collar on. Because sometimes I take her collar off just to let her kind of fluff come back, you know, underneath and stuff. And then I put it back on. But like for a whole day, take it off. Anyway, got a call. And it's a neighbor up the other way than when we had been looking.
Oh, okay.
So we're like, oh, okay. And turns out this is like the resident, you know, tuner car guy in the neighborhood. And I was like, oh, I haven't actually talked to you guys before. But he's like, you're the guy in the Volvo, right? I'm like, oh, yeah, my Volvo, my Miata you may have seen. It's like, yeah, no, those are dope, dude. Nice. I was just like, oh, thanks. You know, I'll be honest. I'm not one of those guys who talks to a lot of his neighbors.
Right,
Just 'cause, but they're far enough down the street. Like, there's not a direct reason to usually. But super cool, dude. They're always washing their tuning cars in the driveway, whatever. So I thought, detailing opportunity somewhere down the line. But he had Callie in his backyard, and she came out. And she was super excited to see me. But, like, her excitement's weird. Like, sometimes she'll use it to just go nuts and, like, run off to somewhere else. She's not exactly well-trained. That's my fault. But at any rate,
Dane.
got her.
It's kind of dog I do not abide as an untrained dog.
That's your thing. So I went back home after having taken care of her, got her in. She was happy. I laid down to sleep at about 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Did not wake up until 5 a.m. this morning.
Impressive.
I slept so, and like Liz said, she came back in. Was like, is he going to wake up? And then she checked. She's like, oh, no, he's dead out. Okay. Nope, still dead. And she's like, I checked multiple times.
You're snoring when you're home?
No, because, you know, she's not a weirdo like you are.
Well, some might say it's a sign of love and affection.
She's just fine with it, actually.
All right.
So
All right.
I got that going for me, which is nice. But, yeah, slept that long. Took a
That's
really
impressive.
stupid long shower this morning. Actually felt better. I feel pretty good today, all things considered. Like, I should feel
I woke
like
up at
complete
5.
garbage this morning.
I woke up at 5 except for the fact that my shoulder was killing me.
My lower back was killing me, I noticed.
Yeah.
And I wondered if that was contributing from, like, the plane rides.
Probably
and
the
some
plane
other
rides.
Stuff, and, like, the difference in beds, having slept on a mattress
Yeah,
on the floor
possibly.
for a while. Like, all that stuff just caught up. But all in all, I think I'm feeling okay today.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys. You think you're, you know, mostly in one piece today?
I'm like physically,
Apart
like
from-
emotionally, I am fine. It is a
Okay.
bit, I am good, but physically, I am hurting because
Yeah.
of the shoulder being out.
Oh, fair.
So I
Anthony?
feel like I dislocated my shoulder.
I could go back to sleep right now for another day.
Yeah.
How about you, Morgan?
Same.
Yeah.
But it was
All
a
right.
great trip. We had a ton of fun. If you guys have never gone to, if you're in that East Coast area,
You should.
do check out Detailer's Domain. Go say hi. If you're nearby, go see Sleepy Hollow. That was actually
That
pretty
was
cool.
Yeah.
Like, you think it's going to be this touristy whatever thing. It's like, no, actually, it's legit. It's cool. You can look around, and
Yeah, pretty wild
no
stuff.
one's really going to bug you. So,
If you're in the or in the Saugerty area, go check out the
the partition.
Partition Bar.
Please
That was a
do.
great
Like,
place.
seriously, that was a cool place, and I want those people to succeed.
Yeah,
And so coming up, we're gonna have just the next few weeks. Our next trip's not for another month.
Yeah.
About
that's a big
28
one, though.
days. We'll be headed to the UK. But until then, what we've got going on July 6th here,
Mm-hmm.
Saturday, July 6th, Rap Institute Live with Justin Pate. We're going to be rapping the Suburban. We just got a box of swag from the Rap Institute, like 150 koozies. We got about 40 T-shirts,
Gonna
Yeah.
be giving some away, I think.
100 stickers. I mean, we got a
Wow.
ton of stuff
Holy smokes.
from those guys. So we're going to be
Crazy.
doing that next. That'll be our next little event. So please come out if you're in the area, or if
Nice.
maybe you're in Oregon or Washington or
Yeah.
Montana, Utah.
You find
if you're
yourself
listening,
heading this way,
come
it's a
on
good time
over.
to do it.
Come hang out with us. Yeah.
Cool, guys. Well, anyways, we want to give a huge shout out to Detailer's Domain, Phil, and the guys over there for hosting the event and making it possible for us to come out. I want to say thanks to Greg, Mike, and the guys over at Detailed Image for letting us come check out the facility and hang out for a day, doing some media coverage, as well as John and the boys over at Swag Rides for having us out as well.
Glenn, thank you.
And then, of course, G. Davis, Luke Berge, MVPs of the trip, and then everybody else that has been involved with the East Coast Adventure that made this all possible.
And, of course, special thanks to Scott and Tiffany for coming to dinner with us. And Konig Wheels.
Joining us.
We love rolling on those things.
Yeah.
And we're really appreciative of it.
Yeah.
No,
so,
seriously.
Thank you guys very much. Dane, take it away.
All right, guys. So, obviously, what you listened to today, I will have some video content of that coming out in the next week or so. Expect to see that. Enjoy it. And with that said, I'll just say, check us out on Spotify. You got the Rag Company Podcast YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to it. The Rag Company YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to that. And, wherever you find your podcasts, that's where we'll be. So until next time, adios, guys.
See ya! Snap into a Slim Jim.